So today we are going to be learning how you can turn your boring shots into masterpieces, regardless of whether you're using a phone or a professional camera. Hi, my name is Anko and I've been creating content for more than 6 years now. I've got 250k plus followers across social media and over 30 million views. And here's the thing, although my content looks very cinematic and very beautiful, almost 90% of my content is filmed alone, handheld, or stuck on a tripod. But despite of all that, here are 5 cheat codes that I use that turn my visuals into this. And I have already covered a majority of the basics, the absolute basics in the first part of this video. So if you have not watched that, I would highly recommend checking that out. And in this video, I'll talk about the gear you need, the cheat codes to making your videos way more cinematic, and also share the filmmaking apps that I actually use. So first, let's talk about the things that you will need. Number one, a camera. The cameras I primarily use are the Sony ZV-E1 and the Sony A7M3 with these different lenses. I also use my iPhone 15 whenever I need to shoot something impromptu or somewhere where I just need a quick vlog shot. Number two is a tripod. If you're shooting alone, you definitely need this, and do not overcomplicate this. Any tripod from Amazon is absolutely fine. And number three is an editing software either on your laptop or on your phone. And this might look intimidating or even sometimes discouraging, but it is very, very important not to overcomplicate the gear situation. If you are able to watch this video, then you have a good enough device to get started. What you actually need are the 5 cheat codes I'm about to share with you right now. So I've already talked about basic composition techniques in the previous video, but in today's video we're going to talk about something a little more advanced: layers. A very boring shot is generally composed of one layer, but adding more layers make our shots way more interesting. For example, separating the subject from the background gives us 2 layers. Nice. And adding something in front of the subject as well gives us total of 3 layers. The foreground, the midground, and the background. The midground generally conveys the most important information in that shot. The foreground shapes the frame, and the background generally helps in setting perspective or giving location information. Another very popular variation of this compositional technique is also known as frame inside a frame. I already talked about this in the last video, and it is very common in very niche and artistic movies. This, my friend, is a studio light, and this is arguably my favorite part of filmmaking: lighting. So the concept of lighting is actually much more universal than you think. It is used in design, in photography, in architecture, in traditional art, and much more. And that is also why it is very hard to tie down the art of lighting within such small sets of rules and regulations. And the main challenge and the thrill with lighting, the both pro and the con, is that there are way too many ways you can light a particular scene. I will need some help to show you this. Chaya, can you help me with the video? Okay, so I want you to be the subject of lighting. I want to showcase some 1300 different lighting techniques. So
1300 different lighting?
Yes. Now that we have some help, I can showcase a few ways of lighting, like the frontal light, split light, top-down light, and the opposite of that: Rembrandt lighting, edge light, backlight, harsh light, soft light, cool light, warm light, natural light, not enough light, too much light, and much more. The possibilities are endless, and that is exactly why I find it tremendously more interesting. Now, in case you are successfully overwhelmed, let me show you a few simple lighting techniques that I always keep in my mind whenever I'm lighting my shots. So whenever I'm working with an interview setting, I generally go back to Rembrandt lighting. What is Rembrandt lighting? Let me show you. So this is what this room ambient light looks like. This is all natural light. There is no artificial light in the frame. Now I'm going to turn on the key light. So as you can see, when I have the light directly in front of me, it makes everything bright, and there are essentially no shadows unless a little bit here, and it looks a lot flat, not very interesting. So basically, Rembrandt is a old artist who used to use this particular lighting technique in his traditional art, and this is exactly how to do it. We move the light more, like 30 to 45 degrees towards one side. Now this main light will be forming a small triangle of light on the far side of my cheek, basically. This is called Rembrandt lighting. This lighting triangle can be seen in Rembrandt's painting as well, and this is generally hands down the best way to light your interviews. unless you're doing something extremely crazy. This is a very bread and butter way of lighting any interview. But what if it is not an interview? For every other situation, like 90% of all other situations, I will be using something called shadow side lighting, whether it's a person, it's an object, or anything else. Here are a few examples of light side versus shadow side. So to make you understand better, when the light is placed on this side of the subject, which is me, this side of my face or this side of my body is called the light side, which is where the light is getting pointed at and it is comparatively brighter than the other side, and this side is called the shadow side. So what does shadow side lighting say is that you always place the camera towards the shadow side, not like this. You basically place the camera over here. So as you can see, there is much more shadow on my face right now and it looks more dramatic, more cinematic and more interesting. Here are a few more examples of shadow side lighting from my own videos. I am using a lot more examples of my own videos so that you know it is not just something that appears in movies, but I have actually done it, so you can do it too. Now, you definitely did not see this coming in a filming video, but here's the thing, music is one of the most pivotal things, the most crucial things inside of filmmaking. Because no matter how good your shot is, how cinematic it looks, a bad music can ruin it to the ground, where a good music can elevate it beyond measure. And I generally do get a lot of questions about where do I get the music that I use in my videos. For almost a year, or actually more than a year, I have been getting all my music resources from Musicbed. Every platform claims to have high quality music, but Musicbed is the only one that goes beyond high bitrate and quality music on paper. But the Musicbed library is curated with real artists creating authentic music. Because we are filmmakers, we are not using music to just fill the gaps in the dialogues, we are using music that talks to the viewer through driving emotions. And finding the perfect song is even easier with its AI-powered search. You don't need to browse through generic, superficial music anymore. You and your stories deserve much better than that. And even beyond music, sound effects play a very vital role in creating the immersive feeling. The traffic, the birds, or sometimes even the footsteps are added in the edit from the new sounds library on Musicbed. The introduction of sounds has honestly made this like a complete platform for all of your audio related needs. So if you are a creative or a storyteller looking for music that elevates the thrill, the emotions of the stories you tell, switch to Musicbed and start your 14-day free trial today. Now, having good music isn't enough. On top of that, you need to learn how to make the most of them. Like, even if you give someone a very good car, the driver still needs to learn how to get the most out of that car. And for that, here are a few little advanced tools that is available in almost every editing software that you should learn. If you're a beginner, you can pass on these things. But if you're not a beginner, these will actually change your audio game. The tools that I'm going to mention are the equalizer, the compressor, and the limiter. This might look a little bit intimidating, so as I said, if you're a beginner, do not worry about these things. But if you are more than a beginner, if you're intermediate, if you have been making videos for quite some time, learning these tools can really elevate your game. But even if you are a beginner, there is something you still need to worry about, and that is coverage. So whenever I'm shooting at a new location, the first thing that I do is I go around and take tons of photos of interesting things, anything that can help me recreate that particular environment when I'm editing. It can be leaves moving, it can be light moving on the walls and different objects. So basically I want all the ingredients possible as much as I can so that I can recreate the environment, the immersion in the edit. Because most of the times you will shoot something and later in the edit you will realize you do not have enough shots, and it is much better to have too many shots than not enough shots. That is exactly why it is really handy to create a shot list or a storyboard beforehand. That way I can take the wide shots, the extreme wide shots, the mid shots, the wide medium, the close-ups, the extreme close-ups, the POV, the vlog shot, and everything else that I can think of. If I have all of that planned out and listed on a Notion board or somewhere on my phone while I'm shooting, I make sure I do not miss any single shot. And it is really important to understand that at the end of the day, filmmaking is not an exam that you're writing. It's a tool to convey our feelings better, to bridge the gap for the things we cannot really put into words. Your filmmaking will never be judged with rulers and timers, but rather in smiles and tears. Digging deep and perfecting every single detail has its own beauty, but we must not lose sight of what the purpose is. It is to tell a story, to convey an emotion, and if breaking a rule of lighting helps in conveying that, go ahead and do it. If some compositional trick or some camera movement trick is a blocker, fucking break it. for the sake of the story. Because showing an empty hallway for 90 long seconds probably breaks every single rule that exists. But if that makes the viewer wonder, like someone is going to walk down the hallway, make them feel the same anxiety, the same pain our protagonist is feeling, I think that's a win as a filmmaker. And that's why every choice during filming, be it the frame, the light, the camera placement, and every little thing should be intentional. And as promised, here are a few apps that I actually use as a filmmaker. The one that I generally use a lot is Monitor Plus, because one of my cameras do not have a flip out screen. I can just mount my phone as a monitor for the camera, or I can just plug it and have it in my hand and I can see what the camera is shooting. I can also add different things like different LUTs, I can adjust focus and all of these things from the app itself. So it's really handy if you are a solo filmmaker. The next one that I use is something I use on my PC and my laptop, is the Imaging Edge desktop by Sony. It majorly works for all Sony cameras. It's a very similar concept, but again, it runs on your laptop or on your PC. So whenever I'm shooting at my desk, I would generally hook up my laptop with an USB-C to C cable with the camera so that I can control and monitor everything from bigger screen instead of that small viewfinder that is facing me from like 2 feet away. I can have everything over here. I can adjust focus, I can adjust all the settings like shutter speed, ISO, and almost everything. I can even toggle focus. And coming to number 3 is here, Final Cut camera, which is not something very useful if you're a solo filmmaker, but it is much more useful for my agency work, because whenever we are working with multiple cameras, this particular app can connect to all of them and I can have a multicam view on my phone or on my iPad. And the sixth and the last ingredient in this recipe is love. After you've learned all these principles, all the concepts, you will still need to internalize them. You will still need to fall in love with the craft of filming. Because getting into this life, you will be doing thousands of retakes. You'll be walking back to take your camera a million times and you'll be doubting your abilities every single day. And if you do not find joy in the process of creating videos or films, sad to tell you, but it is not going to be all sunshine and rainbows on the other side.